On February 28th, the unthinkable happened. The U.S. entered a war with Iran by launching short-range ballistic missiles and conducting military airstrikes on their government and military facilities. This consequentially wiped out all of the mortgage rate progress we have made over the last year. We were all the way down to 5.99% for conventional, and now we are up to 6.61, which is a huge jump. This all happened because of a chain reaction behind the scenes. Within 72 hours, oil prices skyrocketed. When oil prices rise, we see inflation expectations increase. When those expectations increase, we also see an increase in the 10-year Treasury yield, which is directly related to mortgage rates. As you probably saw, the Fed decided to hold the rate steady, meaning they're no longer decreasing the rates because of this fear of inflation. Now, what happens there is it does give buyers and sellers some certainty as far as where rates are, but it does also indicate that they could potentially raise these rates going forward to combat any inflation that keeps occurring. Now, what does this all mean for the housing market? Well, we're at a 29-month high for inventory, which is a great thing because when things do cool off and rates do start coming back down, we'll see more buyers entering the market, but they won't be competing for a limited pool of homes. So when all of that competition comes in, because the available homes will be more, we won't see as much of a spike in home prices like we did during COVID. Now we're seeing about 104 days on average statewide. And that's really because of buyer hesitancy, inflation concerns, and of course, these stubborn interest rates. And it all goes back to inflation and inventory. If we had more inventory, each house would be worth less because there'd be less competition per home. And if we had lower rates, we'd have more buyers that could actually afford to move. Now, even when the rates do come down, if inflation is high enough, the cost of living everywhere else, gas, groceries, etc., those things can outweigh the lower interest rates. So we really want to see inflation come down as well as see the interest rates come down at the same time. New construction home sales fell about 17% last month, meaning that builders are getting more and more desperate. Buyers, if you don't need to sell, new construction is where you want to target because they're giving the deepest discounts. A lot of them are covering your closing costs. They're going to cover part of your down payment, and they're definitely going to give you some incentives for some free upgrades, especially if you're building from the ground up. Now, the latest data suggests that we will still see between a 1 to 3% price growth per home. So if you're currently a homeowner or if you're a seller, you're not on the verge of losing equity right now. But if you are trying to sell, it could potentially get a lot harder for you. The most likely scenario for the rest of the year is that tensions are going to stay high in Iran for at least a few more months, while everything gets resolved with the Strait of Hormuz and the gas prices. And until all of that starts really coming down, we may not see a big change in mortgage interest rates. Now, if it gets worse, we will definitely see mortgage interest rates get higher. But again, that's not what we want to see, and that's not necessarily on the table at this point. To sum it all up, if you're a buyer, your best bet is either to come in for new construction and capitalize on their incentives, or to come into a home that has been on the market for a while and really negotiate for some deep discounts. And the best discounts you can get are the ones towards buying down your rate. You buy down your rate, that's going to be worth its weight in gold. You're going to get far more out of buying your rate down by 0.5% with $10,000 than you are from using $10,000 off of the sales price. $10,000 off the sales price is maybe $100 a month, but that 0.5% could be several $100s a month, depending on how your mortgage is structured. So make sure you're working with a good professional lender and a good professional agent who knows what they're doing. Sellers, if you want to win in this market, best thing to do is presentation, price, and marketing. Make sure that when people come in, it's clean. Make sure that it is ready to go. You don't want to have any red flags or any opportunities for buyers to say, we need to fix that, or we don't want to deal with this. Make sure all of those things are out of the way first. Make sure you have professional listing photos, and make sure that your agent is doing their job marketing your property. I'm Bobby with Legacy Realty Group, the North Texas Market Insider. Have a great month.